Hey, what it do, YouTube? It's your boy Q, and we are officially through that halfway point of VCT. And in the EMEA region, while the playoff field is looking a little more and more clear each week, well, most of the questions really revolve around, at least at this point, is what these seedings of these top 6 teams is going to look like come the playoffs. And of course, remember when looking at those standings right there, that matchup between Koi and Finatic was actually postponed this past week due to COVID, right? And I mean, no offense to Koi, but I think we all pretty well know how that was going to go. But as far as the rest of the region here, I mean, NAVI and Giants, they have not dropped a series since Super Week to kick off the season. They've actually only lost a single map combined through 6 series thus far since then, which is pretty impressive. But the next 4 weeks here is where things get really interesting up at the top of the region, including this week where our top 6 teams are all facing off against one another. Y'all already know how we do on these weekly wrap-ups here, man. Before we get to that pick'ems and them Power 5 rankings, we got to go ahead and get down to these last week's games real quick. So let's go ahead and get down and do what it do. We're actually going to go ahead and get started off with Team Liquid versus Team Heretics here. I told y'all last week that Team Liquid would be looking to make a statement after a loss to Finatic last week, and they did just that. Walking away with the sweep, starting off strong on Split. Split was really where they were able to seize control here early. You'll be able to see starting off the half 10-2, which really kind of allowed them to start things in themselves, even though Heretics were able to get themselves a little bit of momentum going in that second half, winning 6 of the 9 rounds. They even won 4 in a row before dropping that last round, which did allow Team Liquid to win the map. It was on Fracture, though, that we would see both of these two teams really battling it out, needing 8 rounds of OT with both defenses refusing to concede a round. Team Liquid, though, they would end up completing the sweep with a 17-15 win, and we did only end up having 1 game last week thanks to that Koi versus Finatic game being postponed. And you know, I know Giants have been bouncing back pretty strong since the start of the season, but I thought that this game was going to go the other way. This is actually the only game that I got wrong last week. I was actually expecting FUT Esports to come out with plans of redemption after their upset loss the week before. But when we went out to Icebox to start things off for the game, they came out pretty cold. I mean, they only won back-to-back rounds once, and that was on that pistol round and that second round after that to start off the second half. So, I mean, when you start off with that, you can't really be too surprised when you go to Split and you also drop that map there. Yeah, you were able to take it the distance, but you can even still see, I mean, it started off slow, 8-4, and while they were almost able to take things to overtime, when you give a team 5 chances at that match point, they're bound to get one. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, that's one thing that you definitely got to keep in mind when you're a team. I know Split can sometimes be really tough and that 8-4 halves aren't unusual, but you got to try and pull something off, right? And, you know, last week I talked about like the struggles to start the season here for Carmine Corp, but they did admittedly look decent against NAVI within their sweep as well. This is one of those weeks where we had quite a few of those sweeps, even though they were quite like close of matchups, right? It started off on Ascent 11-13. I mean, again, going the distance, just not needing overtime. And it was one of those where, you know, momentum for NAVI starting off the game was really what gave them just enough to be able to come out on top here, 13-11. And then even when you went to Lotus, I mean, they were able to keep things relatively close, 7-5 at halftime. That's one of the closer halves that we do definitely see on Lotus. The problem, though, NAVI would start off with 7 straight round wins to start off that second half, which is what allowed them to break the brooms out, right? And then our last game of the week is actually where I picked an upset and was able to get that bad boy right here. That's going to be against Team Vitality and BBL. Actually, BBL Esports hadn't won a series yet heading into this game, right? They've only won, I think, 1 map heading into this, which is pretty insane to really kind of think about. Now, as far as on Ascent, they were able to go the distance basically without going all 24 rounds. They were 1 round short. But they just, unfortunately, as far as for Team Vitality, they weren't really able to get anything going in that second half. They had a really nice start to things. I mean, you can see here 7-5 at halftime, but it was 1 round 1 of 9 rounds played in that second half that would allow BBL Esports to really kind of take the momentum that, as you can see here, they were able to carry over into Haven as well, winning that thing 13-9. So, I mean, BBL really popped off. They were able to pick up themselves that first win for them for this season. Super awesome. I really thought that Team Vitality was going to be able to put up a bigger fight if they were going to lose this. I called this to be a loss. I was expecting Team Vitality to at least be able to take this thing to 3. But, I mean, again, another sweep that was pretty close, even though it was only 2 maps. And that brings me at 3-1 on the week. Again, so close to having my first perfect week of pick'ems. Call one upset, but unfortunately missed the other. Still on that search though. I do think though that this week we do have again a really good shot. Feeling super confident about this week's pick'ems. We've been on a good roll here recently, but before we get to my pick'ems this week, let me know how your pick'ems have been recently down in those comments below. All right. And also, how's your sleep, YouTube? Do you ever catch yourself getting headaches after long nights at the grind? GamerAdvantage is a leader in impactful eyewear technology that has been proven to help you sleep better, focus more, all without distorting color or comfort, relieving headaches and eye strain, all while fitting comfortably under a headset. Stay in the game longer with GamerAdvantage. Link will be down in that description below. When you check out, don't forget code YoBoyCue hooks you up with that 10% discount. Y'all see me rocking one of my frames pretty much every time y'all see me. And even when I do take out my contacts and need to have my prescription lenses on, GamerAdvantage still has me covered. Increased sleep and protection while decreasing headaches and eye strain. Sounds like a win-win to me. But let's go ahead and get down to the pick'ems here. Let's go ahead and get down and do what it do here, all right? Now, as far as let's go ahead and get started with Wednesday's games here. We're going to go ahead and get started with Team Liquid versus Giants. Now, Team Liquid, they have been struggling against tougher competition recently, and Giants, they have been on a roll. But I do think Team Liquid, I do think they still end up walking away with the dub here, more than likely going to be in 3. And, while BBL Esports may have just won their first series this past week, they have kept a lot of the scores of their series, a lot of those losses, pretty close as well. At least closer than Heretics has in most of their losses. So I'm actually going to expect BBL Esports to go back to back. As far as for Koi versus Carmine Corp, this one should really be interesting just merely because both of these teams could really use something to build on the back of heading into the back half of the season. Both of these teams, doing things at times that seem to be kind of confusing, a couple throws and things like that. Just about everyone, including myself, kind of having some questions, but I do think when we talk about this matchup here, I do think that Koi has had a little bit better quality against some of the similar opponents. I think I'm going to take Koi with the dub here as well. Now, I do definitely hope that everything is cleared up as far as in the Finatic camp. That way we can go ahead and get them down to business this week, maybe even be able to make up that game from last week. As far as for this game here with FUT Esports, I think FUT can give them a run, but the real question is whether Finatic wins it in 2 maps or 3 maps, right? Regardless, though, I definitely think that they're going to end up staying undefeated, probably pretty well all the way until the end of the season, where we will more than likely be seeing 1 versus 2 in that week number, 9, 10, whatever week it is, their last week of play. Now that's actually going to be leaving us with Team Vitality versus NAVI. NAVI hasn't lost a game since their opening game, but they also really haven't beat anyone either, right? Like they haven't beat anyone of like super good quality, right? They're coming into their hardest part of their schedule. Team Vitality, on the other hand, they kind of seem to do this thing where they alternate winning and losing every other week. So for that reason, I'm going to take them in what most people would probably consider an upset, but I'm going to go ahead and actually guess 3 maps in this one as well. I'm going to go ahead and take Team Vitality, but let me know who you guys are taking, YouTube, down in those comments below. I'm really interested to see, now that we're halfway through this season, we have kind of more info to really kind of dig into our Power 5 this week, more than we really have any of our other weeks here as well. All right. And let's go ahead and get into things here. We actually have ourselves a new face in the top 5 as well. And it's not even at 5, all right? Actually, in at that number 5 spot here, that's going to be FUT Esports. It's crazy to think that I was just asking if this team was for real like 2 weeks ago, right? And now they're barely making the Power 5. And we got to be honest, when we look at their results, all of their wins are against teams that are like in that bottom half of the standings. You know, they do have Finatic this week and NAVI in like 3 weeks, I think it is. So these next couple of series here can really kind of show us what FUT Esports is all about. But I think as far as for now, I think number 5 is a pretty good spot for them. Our newcomer is going to be in at that number 4 spot, coming off of 3 straight wins after dropping the first 2 to start off their season. Their last one, though, was actually against FUT Esports, and that's going to be Giants. They also have a really tough this week with Team Liquid. If they happen to get past them, though, this team should look really solid to finish up the season with a really nice record. Speaking of Team Liquid, that's actually going to be our team in that number 3 spot right there. Remember, this team is one rough half away from being 4-1, with their sole loss at this point would have been to Finatic, right? That matchup to start the week should be a banger. We'll definitely be making sure to watch it over here with the community. Now, the number 2 spot, this one shouldn't really surprise you, right? This is a team that's kind of made their way up through the rankings after dropping their opening match against Koi, and that's going to be NAVI. They do play teams that look like they've been qualified for playoffs here with these next couple of weeks, so things should kind of get interesting to let us know how good they really are, which of course would then leave us with our sole undefeated team sitting at the top of the region, and that's going to be Finatic, of course. Finatic still has a game to make up because of their game against Koi, right? But I don't anticipate things to look any different than they had really throughout the course of the rest of the year. But Finatic, though, I mean, they've looked pretty impressive all season long. They've only conceded 1 map. I kind of expect them to do the same throughout the rest of the season here, especially, you know, as far as for Finatic, I don't expect them to lose to anyone unless it's going to be the season closer where we possibly see number 1 versus number 2 in the region squaring off. And with 4 weeks left to go here, these power rankings really should get more and more clear by the week. But I am curious, YouTube, what are your thoughts? Where am I right? Where am I wrong? Let me know in those comments down below. And if you haven't gotten to tap into those comments down below, at least help me out and say what's up or something, you know, because those comments and those likes that y'all about to help out with down in that bottom right hand corner are the 2 things that help me out the most when it comes to getting my content in front of more people. Of course, you also feel free to tell somebody to tell somebody to tell somebody about it. And if it is your first time through over here on the channel, you've made it this far in the video, I'm guessing you probably enjoyed the vibes. Over here on the channel, I do cover daily esports news, updates, interviews, and more. So if you want to stay up to date and be back when we discuss, you know, all regions, whether it's VCT or ALGS, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn those notifications on. But until we catch y'all back over here on YouTube or wherever we cross paths next, man, don't forget, with everything crazy going on in the world today, be true, be you, be sincere, game hard and love harder. All right, y'all? It's your boy Q, signing out.
If you ain't show something, you just don't wanna be. You wanna be me, but you will never be as fresh as see you in.